9-1. Are you joking? Wait, 2?
9-2.
9-2. 9-2. What? And there were 2 9-2 games tonight. What?
Yeah, that's unreal.
Hi, this is Mike Ross, public address announcer for your Toronto Maple Leafs, and this is the Leafs Late Night Podcast, your post-game destination. And now, your starting lineup. Roscoe, the Fanatics, Suthy, Peter, and Darty Roder on the Leafs Late Night Podcast.
Oh, baby. I gotta be careful because we both have cats walking around us right now, and at any second I could get a claw on the leg. All right.
One wrong take.
So, I realized right before starting the show that it hit me. I've been hitting the wrong intro. I made a new one specifically for this season, and I premiered it and everything, and it disappeared from my board, and I've just been hitting one that was labeled Intro New, and it didn't even hit me like this is not the right one. So, welcome back.
Has said anything.
Welcome back, new intro.
Mm-hmm.
So, that game was a little nutty. Like, talk about records. I mean, the whole time we've had these guys on the team, we're always talking about fastest Leafs to do this, fastest Leaf to do that. But some weird ones this week where we saw Bobby McMahon, an undrafted player, first one since Tyler Bozak on the Leafs to score a hat trick. Then the next night we see Matthews score a hat trick. And then tonight, Matthews scores another one, and McMahon almost gets another one. What is going on?
So close. Can you imagine if you go in the next game too? 4 in a row? Like, what's the stat on that?
4 in a row? I have no idea. They said 3 in a row was Washington in 2009, I think. But okay. Matthews is the first since Gretzky, they said, to get 2 in a row.
Yeah, he's also the first since Lemieux in 95 to get 6 in one season. And it took Lemieux a whole season to do this. He still has 29 games left.
Yeah, there's only a handful of guys who have 7, and then it's 8, 9, 10. Gretzky with 10.
In our chat tonight, you said he could hit 10. And at first I looked at it, I was like, there's no way. And then it took me like half a second to realize, like, this is a real possibility. This guy can hit 10 hat tricks in one season.
Yeah, because it's not like he's done it spread out. They've all come in spurts. Like, the first 3 were in 5 games or something.
Exactly.
And then now we see 2 in a row. Like, this is nutty. Yeah. Absolutely nutty. I mean, obviously, Anaheim is in a... Oh my God, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Late Arrivals pod. They're not in great shape, but man... Matthews is on another level.
It
like,
seemed like
he didn't even want to celebrate.
Like, he was doing pretty good at the beginning of the year, but he was not getting the puck luck that he was now. So it seems like it's regressing more to the median, and like every time he shoots, you just think it's going to go in, right?
Yeah, it's just the confidence is flowing through this guy, like the prime energy he's being sponsored by. And meanwhile, in the absence again of JT and obviously Riley, we have McMahon stepping up, Domi taking second line center. Like, everyone's really holding on to these roles. And we've talked a lot about how the struggle with this team has been in development. The spaces aren't there to give these guys the shot. So this has been a really good chance to see a world without the core,
1,000%. Because like more added responsibility, added ice time, it will make or break players. And it has been, it looks like it's been really making these players, right? Like McCann, Domi, everyone, Robertson's playing better with his added ice time. The only guy I can say who's kind of regressed might be Gregor.
Yeah, Gregor, I mean, who'd have thought the guy who scored the first goal of the season for the Leafs would be, in the same boat as Bertuzzi, looking for his first since December.
He had over 15 minutes tonight, and like I really didn't recognize him almost at all.
No, especially with the rest of his line being so loud all night. I mean, there were a few. Don't you step on my keyboard, you little shite. There's a few chances he had where he at least kept the puck in the end and fed it over. He was playing with McMahon, right? Like, that was that line, or am I wrong?
No, so, he was out there for a lot of time with him.
So, I mean, of course, McMahon was the workhorse tonight and, fighting from his knees again to keep the puck in. But look, those things don't happen without the whole line. So, I mean, as unnoticeable as he was, I do have to at least give him
Maybe he's
credit
the guy who's not being shown on the score sheet.
I mean, we hope so, but he has been quiet for too long, and I am hoping for more out of him. But I mean, if your other 750K guy and McMahon is working out, I think the plan there is offer him something cheap before he starts scoring more.
Yeah, 100%. Get him on a really nice team-friendly deal.
Yeah, and I mean, you do have to be careful because look at the situation we've got ourselves in with camp, where you expect it to continue or go up, and it just kind of regresses. So
Yeah,
maybe
that's
a
not
couple
a
more
super
games,
team-friendly
but
deal, though.
it's not.
Camp,
It's
he didn't
really
have a
not.
bad game or anything, but he just doesn't. Even like compared to last year, he doesn't push the needle nearly as close as he did. His penalty killing is great, but like he just doesn't do that much for us right now.
Don't bite my headphone cord. Oh my god. His penalty killing has been great, but it's not been the same offensive threat that it was last year. Like he's
Not
great in
even
his own
close.
zone, but it's not like, oh, he's going to get himself a breakaway that could mean
No,
something. Now if
you're
Camp
absolutely
gets it,
right.
I'm like, oh god,
Like as
this
soon as
isn't going in.
he does his defensive responsibilities in his zone, and he starts to take it to neutral zone, then that's it. His play just dives off. He dumps it in and maybe change.
So just to go on somebody good again for a change here, Timothy Liljegren, who I've been ripping on the last couple episodes, 3 points tonight, has really stepped up in Riley's absence.
Two
He was
the other
playing on the
night.
power play. Yep, 5 points in 2 games now. Yeah, like I said, on the power play was getting some good looks, moving the puck well.
Over 22 minutes.
Broke up some plays going the other way with from Anaheim. Even setting up that play with Robertson at the end there, like that happened because Liljegren broke a play up. So I mean, he was doing
even at the
well.
beginning of the game, it was like, what was it, 2.5 minutes into the game, Anaheim was they came out a little harder than we did, and they had a good cycle going on, and Lily just crushed someone in the corner, ended the cycle, got rid of the puck, and that was game. After that, the Leafs never looked back. So he's slowing his game down a bit. He's been a lot more responsible. His giveaways have been way down, and you're finally like seeing the really good side of him right now. And God, I hope it keeps up.
Oh my god, talk about a good night for stats though. Guess how many points the Leafs had in total?
Ooh,
5, 8,
27.
very close. I got 26 here.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, 5 for Matthews, Liljegren and McMahon and
It's a
Nylander
full
all
team
had
effort.
3. Yeah, I mean, I know if Don Cherry were here, he'd say not to keep trying. Like, look, the Leafs were trying to score right up until the buzzer went. Like, they were trying to pull plays off literally up until the end of the game.
It looked like they let up a bit in the third, but yeah.
For sure, but they didn't exactly kill time for the last 30
Nor
seconds.
should they.
Like, they were
Nor
going for the
should they.
10th goal.
Yeah.
And look, I know Don Cherry would say you're not supposed to hem them in when you're already up by this much, but look, when so many guys have been so hungry for points, and like Bertuzzi especially, take advantage of games like this where it's just a shit show and put one in. Like, stand in front of the net and just get it.
Guys need to feel good about themselves right now. And that's why I thought when Keefe did that challenge, maybe you're up 8-1, right? You really don't need to do it. It's not going to have any significance on the game. But we don't owe the league or the teams in this league shit. So I'm really glad that he did it. And it sent a message to his team. It sent a message to his goaltender, who has not been playing great the past few games. And I thought that was a great move. And like you said, that encompasses exactly what they have been doing this whole game. It's just not letting up.
And the confidence really spread to the philosophy of the game. I mean, Benoit absolutely demolishing people, and McCabe demolishing people, Domi demolishing people. Okay, Radko Gudas is officially the most hated NHLer in Toronto. I'm so glad. Like, the amount of people that are just fucking screaming every time he touches the puck, it's great.
Yeah, so good. McMahon scores that beauty. It wasn't much of a cross check, but he pushed him. And it's still, to see Domi come in after that, so good.
Just flies in. Dad's in the crowd too. And last but not least, Ryan Reeves, who finally showed what we're paying him for a night. Like, it's been a while since this guy really showed his teeth, but oh my god, he had the crowd going. Every time someone backed away from him, people were booing, like, take him on. Did. Oh my god.
Although he didn't fight anyone, like you said, his actions tonight, that presence, that's not something that Leafs have had in a while. And even his play has been a lot better since he's come back from that injury. And I'm not a Reeves fan whatsoever, but I feel like he's earned his spot on the roster right now. especially
Yeah,
after tonight.
that penalty you drew at the end there, the unsportsmanlike, even the announcers were like, "Oh, wait, it's not on Reeves?"
Yeah,
It's like,
well,
no,
like right at the end too, they gave him 10 minutes. That was the quickest 10 minutes they've ever given someone before. Like, just get him off the ice.
oh, so good. It's like he's gotten to the point where, I mean, and look, if when it's 8-2, 9-2, like, don't step on my keyboard, you fucker. When it gets to that point, like the amount of chirps you can throw at the other team, like anyone tries to
Yeah.
fight you, it's like, buddy, you're down like 8-2. I'm not touching you, and then you can get that rise out of them. That's the
Yeah.
best opportunity for Bertuzzi, and
Because, like, in
everybody
no
else
way
felt
should
it.
he be fighting Reeves when it's that score, to be fair. Like,
Oh,
everyone who's
exactly.
getting mad about it, like, he's not going to do it. No one in the right mind would ever do it. But the fact that he can get under his skin and make that a storyline in this game is really, really big for the Leafs.
I'm trying to pull up how many penalty minutes he had tonight.
He played a good game.
Domi had
He almost
11.
scored, too. He had a really good chance.
Why does it say Reeves only had 2 penalty minutes? Is that right? Like, am I crazy, or did he have way more penalty minutes than that?
Well, he did get that 10-minute at the end.
No, it wasn't him though.
Oh, wasn't it?
No, so let's look at some penalties. How do I look at that on this friggin' play by play?
Pims.
Penalties.
Yeah, you might be right. Charlie has 15 this game.
Wow. I thought he got more than that. That's crazy. So Domi ended up with the most.
Yeah, he played a beauty game. Like, he wasn't really potting goals, but the stuff he was doing, like standing up for his teammates and just flying around out there and hitting people, Papa must have been proud in the stands.
So Reeves just got that one unsportsmanlike against Gudis.
That was
when
it,
Gudis
eh?
got the roughing against him. Yeah, that's it the whole night. Domi got the one for fighting Gudis and hooking Vetrano and roughing against Gudis and a double minor there. So, yeah. And Sam Carrick got the 10-minute misconduct at the end.
Okay. Reeves didn't get one as well?
No, that's why everybody was surprised, because he was just egging him on to the point where
yeah, let's get him off the ice for the rest of the ice, rest of the game. Sorry.
Yeah, and it's weird in that situation for the refs to be like, "No, we're going to take a Carrick. He's the instigator in this situation. Reeves has not been the problem.
He's the one we got to watch out for."
Oh my god,
what a fun game, though.
It was. I mean, like, it's been a bit of a strange couple months in the new year, and with the suspension and the illnesses, it's been weird. So the fact that the Leafs have won a couple in a row here and the game was exciting, it's nice for the fan base, right?
100%.
Okay. Sorry, go on.
So there's something I really noticed tonight, too, and like there's a lot of people have been talking about the whole captaincy thing, but you can tell Matthews is like the de facto leader of this team now. Everyone wants to sit beside him on the bench. They rally around him. He's laughing with everybody. His demeanor is so much different right now than it was even like a couple months ago, especially like early in his career. He's really taking this team and like he's leading them now. It's really, really, really fun to watch.
Oh yeah, I mean when he's on, the whole team's on. It seems like
even on the bench, like he's laughing with people. He's interacting way more. It looks like he's having like a lot more fun up there.
Him and McMahon on the bench was great to see.
A prime example. Like this kid is getting so much confidence just by being around Matthews right now.
Yeah, can you imagine
the leader of this team?
What did McMahon have on his career? 2 or 3 goals coming into the other night when he got the hat trick. Now he's got like more than he had in his whole career in 3 games, and you get to sit beside a leading goal scorer and a Richard winner. It's like, that's the little things.
Yeah, that feeds your ego. Like that makes you a better player.
I hope so, because if McMahon can keep it up, then it really answers a lot of questions that we have. Like we were talking on the last episode. We got to find a lot of the solutions within, because the Leafs have nothing to trade. So if you can find some diamonds in the rough here in the absence of some of your bigger guys, great.
Yeah. Like you got Min coming up. You got Cowan, who's on like a 22-point game streak right now. Game point streak. It's unreal what that guy's doing right now too.
Jesus. So I guess the elephant in the room is, I mean, the Leafs do really well without Morgan Riley. and no one can explain it. Like, is it a fluke or is it
It's
something
a fluke.
worth?
People are just stepping up. Morgan Riley is not a detriment to this team. I don't even think that's like an argument.
No, I don't either. I think it's just one of those things where, like we said with everyone else, people get into a higher role that they've been practicing
Yes.
for. You know, they know how the team works, so they can step into it. They've been watching that person. Like, it's not
Exactly.
sustainable over 30 games. Like, it's something that the Leafs are good at doing. Like when Matthews goes down and the Leafs have a crazy record, you can't say that the Leafs are better without Austin Matthews.
If you played a full season with that lineup without him, you're going to be way worse than you are with him.
The only one that I'm kind of questioning is John Tavares because of that I don't know, just the value of that second line center spot. Not that you want to just have a roundabout group of guys filling it in, but I think we've gotten to the point where we might be missing out on some guys that could have filled that role. Like, I'm tired of seeing guys on other teams that are ex-Leafs doing so well when we just couldn't give them the opportunity here. And I think now that he's getting to the end of the deal, it's like,
especially if you're like comparing cost with production, he does make a shitload of money. That makes the pill really hard to swallow. But when he's on, there's no one that you're plugging in that position that's gonna be better than him.
No, I think it's more that you're not giving yourself the opportunity to find somebody that gives you production for a much cheaper contract.
Yeah,
like
or
you're
even like position wise, I think
always running that back.
Maybe the move is you start to put him at wing.
I mean, yeah, I think if it's really going to depend on what his next contract looks like if he sticks around with the team. Like, if it's something where you can feasibly put him as your maybe third line center or a second line wing, like I don't know what
he's
it is.
Third line. He's not a third liner. It depends how much he's going to want and how much especially like I think his skating has regressed by then. If not, then I don't really think he makes sense with this team.
You don't think he would play like at a reduced role on the third line and at center to keep that, to give somebody else that's younger and faster?
Maybe he'll play like second power play unit too, but like you want your third line center to be able to back check like crazy. That guy's got to be able to contain, even in a matchup like with the first line center.
Fair.
Yeah, I see him as like a second liner, but a third liner that's hard for me to see.
Okay, fair. Quick question here from the crowd. We got a bunch of them tonight, but let's jump into one. Do we have the new McJesus in town?
Obviously.
I mean, it's not the McJesus we wanted, but it's the McJesus we deserved, whatever the line from Dark Knight is.
He'll keep the spot warm until the real McJesus comes in a couple of years.
Exactly. Who do we trade? Cam for Reeves? One needs to go.
I mean, if you can get someone to take on Camp's contract, do it without giving away like a high pick. But I don't see any of them actually being traded.
I think if you're going to trade one of them, I agree it's Camp, because Reeves' contract is cheap enough that you can obviously scratch him and bury him in the AHL, as they've proven.
Yeah.
Much to his chagrin, but you can do it. Camp just making over 2 is a lot harder to do that, and you don't get the cap relief.
Especially for the years, too. If you can get rid of Camp, I think you get rid of Camp.
Yeah, I don't really see anybody wanting to take that on, and I don't want the Leafs to have to pay to have someone do that. I think that's just...
Isn't Reeves old enough, too, that if you bury him, his contract doesn't count against the cap?
Yeah, and there's something about the buyout on it, because it is a 35 plus, but it's not protected against buyouts, so they could if they want to, but it really doesn't make any sense. You might as well just bury it.
Yeah.
Does that loss for the Ducks make any difference for the value of Adam and Rink come trade deadline?
No. This guy is 34 years old. You know what he is at this point. One loss on a shit team isn't going to make a difference.
Yeah, I checked his numbers. I mean, he's been on New Jersey and Anaheim. Both of them, well, they've been not great, and he's a career 40-point guy. Like, he's never really faltered from that. Like, the lowest is 30, the highest is 50. Like, you know what you're getting with him.
I think David Camp if David Camp were good.
That's a good way to put it.
He kills a ton of penalties. Like, he's a great penalty killer. He's like 55%, I think, on the face-off dot. Reliable.
Yeah, I think he's a really good depth pickup for a team that's already full going for the cup. Like,
yeah, 100%.
I think Vegas might go for it, or Colorado, or like one of those guys, just because they can.
Yeah, he's a solid pickup. I don't see the Leafs doing it because we don't think we have the room for it, but
From Maple Leaf fan here. Sorry, I'll shout out everybody. We got at Leafs 34, McCabe's Nose at Moose Koken, and Mike 23 Dreamer. Thanks guys for the questions. Next we got Maple Leaf fan. Do we make it 4th hat trick in 4 games? If yes, who steps up to do it?
wow. I mean, easy money is supposed to be on Matthews, but if someone's going to do it, I'd say Willie.
I was going to say, if it's not Matthews, it's Nylander, because he has been kind of floating around the edges and still scoring through all this. And I got one tonight, and he's been looking hungry. So, yeah, I think it's one of those two. If it's McMahon, I'm just like throwing everything out the window.
McCaddy, if he does it again, and they just keep going back and forth, it would be the most unreal thing.
Oh, yeah, that's like a storyline for the rest of Leafs time.
30 for 30.
Yeah. And what do we got next? Arizona? Oh, no, St. Louis. And then
St. Louis.
Still doable.
Well,
second part of the question. For what it's worth, Riley needed time off. He was playing mammoth minutes. A nice rest will only help him. Same with Gio, the older players in the league, although it is terrible what happened to him. Rest in peace, Mr. Giordano. Yeah, agreed. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Totally agree. You want to... Keith hasn't been great at doing time management with older players this year. Or even like his workhorses, like he said, Riley's been playing a ton of minutes, and he just hasn't been getting much of a break. So this is... You don't want to see him sit out for 5 games, but this is a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, I mean, and apart from Matthews getting 5 points, this was the lowest time on ice he's had all season. He only played like 14 or 15 minutes.
Fun fact, this is the only time he's ever gotten 5 points in a game.
Yeah, that's insane. And it's the least time he's had all year. Yeah, especially because he got 4 goals one game.
He's got fucking 6 hatties this year, and he's never gotten more than 4 points in a game.
That's why that Coach Chippy video was like, "Hey boys, what's that A category? Austin, that's assists. Oh, what does that mean? You get a point. You get a point for passing the puck to the guy who scores. You get a point for that?
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, it's pretty wild that the guy has scored 4 goals in a game more than once and has never had 5 points.
Yeah, that actually blew my mind.
Oh wow. Can this team win against a contender? I don't know. We'll see. We got Vegas, Colorado, Vegas. So we're gonna find out real quick.
Tough 3 games after St. Louis. But yeah, they can.
TML fan and Van, what is Bobby McMahon?
We said it earlier, McJesus. No, he's a player who is just starting to find his confidence. He's been playing the way he has been playing his whole life now. He's not afraid to make mistakes. He's playing up to his potential, and it's really fun to see.
How old is he? He's 27?
Yeah,
are you joking? I didn't know he was that. I knew he wasn't 20, but I thought he was like
when he played before, he held the stick super tight. He was afraid to make a mistake, and he's just not playing that way right now.
Wow. So this guy, just looking through his career here, 2021 Wichita Thunder in the ECHL, and then the Marlies, Newfoundland Growlers, Marlies. Can you believe that during the pandemic, this guy was playing with the Wichita Thunder of the ECHL, and now he's got fucking, what is that, 13 points in 29 NHL games with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yucking it up with Austin Matthews on the bench.
Absolutely incredible for an undrafted player.
What a story.
Yeah, it's great. And all the media attention he's been getting. I mean, everybody wants to talk to him. Everyone's loving the story. It's something that we don't have often, you know?
No, we don't. It's a really, really feel-good story.
A great feel-good story. Who do we got here? Mikey D, start bench cut. Oh my God. So it's a bunch of variants of Reese's. I don't know if you've had any of these. There's Reese's Cookie Biscuit. I have not had this.
Never heard of it.
Regular Reese or Reese's with Reese Puffs.
What's a Reese Puff?
Well, I think it's like the ones that have the cereal inside of them.
Oh.
I've never had this. He said Walmart's got some elite Reese's merchandise. I have not had any of these. I mean, obviously I've had a regular Reese, but these special ones, what is this sorcery? I'm so lost.
I don't usually fuck with chocolate, but I do like Reese. So the OG has to be, you start that one, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna start the OG, but I'm just looking at the picture here he's got of the Reese's Pieces with chocolate cookie biscuit.
Cookie biscuit, that sells me. You bench that and you cut the puffs.
Okay, so what it looks like is, you know how there's the like the way that peanut M&Ms are shaped? Imagine that, but instead of like replace the chocolate with cookie and replace the peanut with Reese's. And it seems like that's what it is. Is like a Reese's Pieces covered in a biscuit with the coating on the outside. Yeah,
You
that's
bench that one.
bench that one, and then I'm cutting this this Reese's with cereal inside of it. Don't need that.
Trying too
unnecessary. Yeah, that Franken Reese can go. Thanks. Okay. Thanks guys for the questions. Moving on to other news. Jarmo Kekalainen, after 11 years in Columbus, is let go. Only weeks ahead of the trade deadline. Weird ass timing.
Super weird timing.
Apparently, Davidson said John Davidson, the owner, or not the owner, the president said that he had back surgery and he's been out for a bit, and that's why the timing happened when it did. But like, you couldn't have done this before. You could have had someone else do it. Like,
who's taking over like a trade deadline? Is it John?
They said that he's like acting for now while they search for someone, but it's like I feel like John Davidson knows that his job might also be in limbo right now, and they're not naming him as like the actual interim. They just said like we're looking for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Things are not going well there, and I can't at all feel bad for Johnny Gaudreau.
No, definitely not. Like, well, man, I bet he wishes he had a redo on that one.
Like, if anyone in the league had a redo on where they signed, he's got to be top of the list.
If it was Philly or Columbus, he must have been wishing like he was in Philly right now, and that's not even saying that much.
And for Mitch Marner, it's literally you get to see the Marvel what if.
100%.
If he went for the money instead of stability,
yeah.
Oh,
and like who are they going to hire? Like they said they wanted someone with good experience, but man, that place is a dumpster fire right now.
Yeah, and as far as experience goes, I mean, there's not many guys that for good reason are out of a job, or with it. Yeah. Like, how do I put that? All the guys that don't have a job right now don't have one for a good reason. So,
or maybe find someone who doesn't have much experience, like a Billy Guerin, what he's doing in Minnesota right now. Like he would be a great fit. That type of person in Columbus.
Yeah, I just don't know how someone's going to come in literally like it could be a week or two ahead of the trade deadline.
They can't. That can't happen. There's no way that can happen. You let John Davidson and that team run it until after deadline, at least.
The other rumor was that did Jarmo pitch a trade that was just so okay, we can't do this anymore, that they were like, we're not letting you go to the deadline because you might do something that's
they got
like,
shut down in like NHL 24. It was so bad.
Yeah,
it would have to be like atrociously bad for that to happen. That's such a knee-jerk reaction.
They're just in such a shitty situation. I mean, they've got guys that are underperforming. Obviously, Linus going through his mental health struggles, and we hope that he can work that out. But
100%.
I mean, that's one of your top guys down. Gaudreau's underperforming. I mean, what do
you're going to trade Boone Jenner at the end of this at the season, like
all-star Boone Jenner? Yeah,
he's a not bad pickup. You're talking about Henrique. I think Boone Jenner is a better pickup than him.
Well, and that's the thing. There's a lot of guys on that team that are on the trade board, and without a stable GM or potentially Davidson doing it, like you have I think it's one of two scenarios. They make a bunch of bad trades, or they don't do anything, and these guys just sit, and then they've wasted the pieces that they have on expiring deals.
I think that's
and then
the move.
They just run it out.
You trade off a couple of your pieces like Jenner and whoever else, but then you figure out what you're going to do in the offseason and then go from there.
Because you figure every GM is going to try and take advantage of this and blow up their phone with like the worst trades possible.
Sure, 100%. You're not doing your job if you don't. But like the whole Gaudreau thing, that really hurts. They banked on him being infinitely better than he is.
Well, I mean, yeah, they got 115 points.
Yeah, he was legit.
Just looking, they have a couple shit contracts there on defense too, right? Like, oh yeah, so Werenski,
Mm-hmm.
9.5, and then Severson at 6.25, Ivan Provorov at 4.75, Eric
Yeah.
Branson at 4. Like,
Good
but
Branson 4 is pretty heavy.
50, that's like $23 million between 4 defensemen. That's a lot. I mean, I was coming from a Leaf fan, but
Who do
then
they have in
then
there
you're
right now too? Elvis and
Elvis and Tarasov.
Cherasov. Yeah, that's
They
not a
don't.
good tandem either.
Jake
Elvis
Bean
has
is their
fallen off.
cheapest defenseman at 2.3 million. Like
Really? Eh?
that's rough. All of their guys make more than 2. It's and they
Yeah.
take the hit on forward. I mean, this holy shit. Okay, so Gaudreau makes
Mm-hmm.
9.7. Roslovic makes 4. Boone Jenner makes 3.75. Corrali makes 2.5. Texier makes 1.5. Look, that's how quick this drops off. Oliver Matthew makes 1 million. Everyone else makes under 1 million.
Really?
That's insane. No wonder this team is shit. Like, yeah, obviously Fantilli and Kent Johnson and Cole Sillinger are in
Rookie
there,
deal. Yeah.
but and Igor Chinnikov, like they're taking advantage of so many cheap deals. But like, this is the same situation Anaheim's in. You can't have a bunch of 18-year-olds on fucking ELCs skating around there
You
with
have
no
to even
help.
it out with some like professional hockey players, right? Like some older vets who've been there who can show these guys how to be a pro.
And that's supposed to be Line A and Gaudreau, and that didn't work.
Nothing against Laney's struggles, but even without that, he's not the type of guy I want ushering in like a younger group of forwards.
No, and I don't think either of them would be penned as
Oh
like
no,
star
especially not
leaders on
Gaudreau.
their
He's
team,
terrible.
right?
No, he's
Like
not.
they're I mean, we talked about this before with them. They're not like 1A guys. They're the 1B. They're like a complementary to your star player. They're the
They're
Mitch
like a Phil
Marner,
Kessel
right?
from back in the day, right?
Yeah,
That type of
exactly.
player. They're not going to
Exactly.
lead men. They're going to score a bunch of points, but they're going to have to do it their way. And if it's not their way, they're not going to be fun to be on your team.
Yeah, so honestly, I'm excited to see if Columbus just ends up selling the entire farm. Like, I mean, look, they have all the young guys. They don't need the picks.
Yeah.
If they can move some guys and get something useful back, like maybe this is the time to do it. But who's gonna do it? I don't fucking know.
I really don't see them doing too much other than like dumping Jenner at the trade deadline.
Yeah, I think any adjustment there is going to be signing somebody in the offseason.
Especially if you're having like a new GM come in, he's going to want to put his fingerprint on this and just have a couple like a 5-year plan going into it.
Yeah, really, it's just going to suck for a couple of these guys that could potentially go to a playoff team, but might just end up having to spend the rest of the year in Columbus.
Could be. Maybe it'll happen.
Maybe. There was something else, wasn't there, that happened? I mean, obviously, shout out to the PWHL Toronto and Montreal game on Friday night. Toronto winning 3-0. Sold out
Was it
crowd.
highest attendance ever for a women's hockey league? A hockey game, rather?
Yeah, I think people are really getting into this. I mean, I know it seems.
I heard that people are not going to buy tickets for women's hockey, though.
Woof, come on. I mean, it's crazy
great.
seeing how it was predicted like beforehand, and you can see based on the size of the arenas across the league. Like Minnesota, for example, shares their arena with the Wild. The 67s share theirs with Ottawa's PWHL team, so it's not NHL size, but it's
OHL.
big.
It's pretty good.
It's OHL. And then Toronto plays in like a 1,200 person practice arena above Loblaws.
That's a small one, yeah. But like, I don't blame him for wanting to do that right at the beginning of the year because you don't know what's going to happen in the inaugural season. But what it showed last night is that people really care. Like that building was incredibly loud. The vibes there were huge. Social media was really big. Like they checked off every box. It was awesome.
Oh, hell yeah. And no, my point was more just that it was so unknown how this was going to do that, like, the
100%.
capacities across the league are just like so vast. But it's awesome that in creating that bit of exclusivity, I guess, with Toronto, when you do open it up to Scotiabank Arena, everybody that's been waiting gets to go.
Yep.
So, and it's people that have been waiting for this. I mean, like a lot of like young girls that have wanted to watch women's hockey that haven't had a chance to. And
not to mention, like, think of all the people in Toronto who maybe want to bring their family to a hockey game, but they just can't afford to do it with the Leafs. So now they have this other great alternative.
it's exactly what I was going to say. Is it's a professional hockey game you can go to in Toronto in Scotiabank Arena that's not $500 a ticket to bring your 2 or 3 kids to, right? Like
you get to bring a young girl who's like 5 or 8 years old, and their eyes just light up, and all of a sudden this changes their hockey career, like their path rather.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw, it was Sarah Nurse was on with what's
Spin
his name?
Chicklets.
Yeah, talking about the branding and how, obviously it'd be nice to have a name and everything, but like they put this
Yeah,
together in 6 months, which you really have to give them a lot of leeway with. There's the fact that they've
100%.
been able to put this great of a product on the ice and have a whole rule book together. I mean, look, the NHL's rule book is such a piece of shit. The fact that they
Yeah,
were
it's
able to
terrible.
create an entire league from the ground up in 6 months
Yeah.
is insane.
And
So
it's going to be like an ever evolving thing, I think, for the first like 2 to even 5 years. It's just going to be, they're molding it into hopefully what's going to be like a really, really strong and good league.
yeah, and I mean, look, everybody, including myself, had a lot of criticisms of them starting without names and logos and the branding and everything.
Yeah.
And like, not that my mind is completely changed on that, but I think now that there's been so much hype around it and people are kind of waiting for it, it's going to sell like crazy when it does come out. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
asterisk if the team's names and logos are good, because if it's anything like the ones that were registered a while ago, they were not
True,
great.
because branding's pretty important. Like young people are really susceptible to this, and they're gonna latch on to it. So if it's something they can really connect to, that's an important thing, right? You just don't want to be called the Ottawa hockey team.
Exactly. So I think once people have a name they can latch onto, it's going to bring this even further. So the fact
Yeah,
that they've been able to do this much without names and logos and
it's
being
huge.
able to
It's
like,
what a
yeah,
success so far.
yeah. The fact that people are buying sweaters that just say PWHL Ottawa and PWHL Toronto and everything is
Yeah,
awesome. So
and the games
they're,
are good too. Like let's talk about the product. Like it's been
oh God,
fun.
yeah.
It's a lot more physical than I thought it would be too. That's one of my biggest surprises.
Yeah, same. I didn't realize, like, obviously international hockey has different rules than, the
Yeah.
NHL does. So I didn't think about the fact that when you get these women to sit down and hash out a rule book together for like a national league in North America, they can say, okay, like what level of hitting do we want now that we're not in an international tournament? And they
Hmm.
accepted, okay, as long as it's along the boards, we're not doing open ice hits. Cool,
Yeah.
great, let's do that. And everyone watching was like, I'm sorry, what? We're gonna
As long as you're
watch
not
people
Scott
smash
Stevens
each
up there,
other?
you're good. Like you can rub up against each other, you can plow each other on the boards. It's been really good.
Yeah. And I mean the some of the highlights, the goals have been great. The
Hundred
goaltending is
percent.
great. The fact that Toronto has Campbell in net, come on, we got another soup.
He's probably the best Campbell to ever play in Toronto.
I mean, come on, Jack
Mm.
Campbell. Jack Campbell's elite. Remember?
She pitched a shutout.
Oh, she did. And I mean, look, to just bring it around to something else here to close it off. Talking about branding, after we signed off last night, Justin and I were looking through KHL jerseys. I mean, to say anything, we were looking specifically through players that are just still kicking around in the KHL that we forgot about. But
Yeah.
and looking at the jerseys, we're like, damn, can I buy this one? Like, where do we get this? Some of these are pretty sick. So, product aside, I mean, if you have a nice looking jersey and logo, people will buy it.
People will buy it, even for 300 rubles.
It was actually 400.
Oh fuck.
Also, you cannot find a Kunlun Red Star jersey. Like, it is so
Really,
hard.
eh?
It's like not possible to buy one in the West. Like, you
The
probably have
one I
to buy
really
one.
want is the old Soviet Union, like the CCCP one with the iron sickle.
Yeah,
Such a classic.
yeah. We were trying to find the Red Star one, but I think you have to buy it like through China somehow and have it shipped here, because like you can't actually buy them from our internet.
Just back channel.
The other hilarious thing actually about that team here, I do want to bring this up for a sec. So when you go to the team's website, it says that all their players are Chinese because they've like gotten nationality or whatever.
Yeah.
If you go to like Elite Prospects and look at their team, where it says like where they're actually from, it's so funny. Okay, so this is China's KHL team for anybody that doesn't know. Illinois, Minnesota, Illinois, BC, Ontario, Saskatoon, Massachusetts, Ontario, BC, Quebec, Ontario, Alberta, Ontario, California, BC, New York, Finland, Ontario, Alberta, BC.
One European, that's it.
Yeah, and they've got. I did skip over. There's like one or two Russians. Yeah,
Okay.
there's two Russians on the team, one Finnish guy, and what is BLR? I don't know what that is.
A bunch of Yanks and Canadians.
I don't even know what this country is. But yeah, so their whole
BLR,
team is
Belarus.
literally. Oh, there you go. Yeah. So their whole team is just a bunch of Canadian guys, and it's so funny. Like,
That's unreal.
yeah. I mean, get your guap however you can, right?
Never give up. The dream's still alive. Yeah.
Jake Chelios, any relation? Father Chris Chelios.
Is it really?
Yep.
I only thought he had daughters.
That is crazy. So his kid, Jake Chelios, 32 years old, plays for Kunlun Red Star.
32 years old.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Keep getting them checks, buddy. Yeah, good for you.
So, wait, let me get this straight. Chris Chelios only retired from the NHL in like 2010.
His dad's probably still a better player than his son.
Wait, so he retired from the NHL in 2010, and in 2010 his son was playing for the Chicago Steel.
Really?
That's wild.
Chelly.
Oh my god. This is what we did the other night. You just dive down. If you're ever interested in like where some of these players disappear
it's
to,
a deep rabbit hole.
Like Valtteri Filppula is playing in the KHL. Like there's so many random names that you can find still kicking around over there.
Or just like players you completely forgot about.
Oh god, yeah. Just search by
Great
like
segment.
age.
Where are they now?
Yeah, exactly. Just search by age and like nationality. Look for any Canadians still kicking around over there. It's pretty funny.
Beauty.
Last thing, because I didn't get to talk about it with you, I think, but Phil Kessel joining the Vancouver Canucks. What do we think?
Is he officially joining them? He looked pretty gassed when he was at practice with Abbotsford.
Oh, is that? I haven't seen that update. Is that where we're at with him?
From what I understood, it was just like a come show us what you got type of thing.
Canucks continue patience with Phil Kessel. Future Hall of Famer must pass checkpoints. Okay.
Yeah, he
Canucks downplay Phil Kessel news. Okay, so they're trying to like, whoa, cool the Jets.
They want to do this under the radar, but like you can't do under the radar with Phil anymore.
No, as soon as he gets invited anywhere, it's going to be, oh, finally. Because I think the thing with him is anywhere he signs, they have the responsibility of keeping his Ironman streak running or not.
That's the thing too, right? But I'm sure like he must have had talks with them. Like that doesn't mean anything to him at this point. He probably just wants to play.
Yeah, and the other thing is because playoffs don't count for that, I think we might see him sign with somebody closer to the playoffs where he can play maybe like the last 2 games this season, and then it's just, okay, we'll keep the Ironman streak going by benching you through the playoffs, but you can play a couple games as an extra in case someone gets hurt.
Left. You'd probably want to see him play like at least 15, maybe 10. But even last year with Vegas, he was a healthy scratch a lot in the playoffs. So I'm not really too sure how much he can offer a team like that. I think he'd be good on the second power play. Maybe a couple second, third line minutes, but I don't expect too much from him at this point in his career.
No, and it's unfortunate because
I love him too, but
yeah, he's just so funny. Like,
he's great.
We need characters in the NHL.
Yeah,
and of course, 100%. There's a lot that are coming up in the last couple of years, but it's just sad to see one go to retirement potentially.
I think he's got one last hurrah. I think they'll actually bring him on.
I hope so. It's just, especially with the Canucks, they're so good and so deep that I don't see them really needing to play him a ton. But
what if someone gets hurt? That's I think what they're kind of thinking.
Yeah, and I mean that's what anybody would bring him for, but
yeah,
we'll see.
But he'd only go to a contender, right? Like he's not going to go sign with Arizona again or Montreal or something stupid like that.
I don't think anyone's going to sign with Arizona until they know where the team's going to be.
Yeah, no shit.
Quick look at the standings. The Leafs did hop over the Tampa Bay Lightning. Woohoo! We're third place in the Atlantic, only behind the Bruins and Panthers. A
couple of games in hand, though.
My God, Panthers won 9-2 over the Lightning tonight.
Yeah,
who knows anything about that? Yeah, God, I have him on my fantasy team, and I'm absolutely devastated. That surgery really brought him back to reality.
It really, really did.
They're going to have some questions come off season, especially with Steven Stamkos' contract up.
That's a huge question.
So yeah, the Bruins have 75, Panthers have 76. We got 66. Lightning have 65. So kind of a toss up between first and second and third and fourth.
Looks like there, yeah.
The Red Wings are starting to drop off a little, but they're still right behind. Yeah,
I expect them to drop off a little more towards the end of the year as well.
Man, I really thought it wasn't going to be Sabres Canadian Sens at the bottom again. I really, really hoped we'd see a little better out of the three of them, but fuck.
I thought Montreal would be down there, but Ottawa surprises me more than even the Sabres.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the second half of the year is great for both the Sabres and the Sens every time, and you think like, oh, this is promising, and both of them go into the offseason. I mean, look, we always say the Sens win the Cup in August. Like, they always look like it's going to be good. They're building on success, and then they just don't.
I heard it from somewhere tonight that the comparison was that the Ducks were the Sens of the West.
That is a really
just a
great
lot
comparison.
of good pieces, but they can never really break through.
Yep. And every year it's a question of, do we trade this one guy that we've been holding on to for a while?
Yeah. And like, at least Anaheim has legit goaltender.
Yeah. I mean, as long as he's not in trade talks.
Yeah, or hurt.
But Jacob Chikrin could be on the move again.
He could be.
Which
sounds like he probably will be.
This poor guy has spent his entire career on the headline of where is he going?
I get the vibe he doesn't want to be in Ottawa, though.
This guy hasn't wanted to be anywhere he's played.
Yeah, he's a good player, but he's hurt a lot, too. I don't think I'd want him on my team.
No, and it's unfortunate that he's had all the injuries. I think if he'd been been traded from Arizona to a better team a lot sooner, we wouldn't be talking about him this way. But
because he had trade rumors for like 3 years before he actually got traded.
Oh my god, literally. Okay, that's all I've got for tonight. Anything you want to touch on before we skedaddle?
I do believe that is everything.
Well, let's hope for another hat trick because it is just unbelievable the amount of goals these guys are pumping out.
St. Louis, we got a chance.
We do. I would love to see Binnington in net and just see him and Reeves chirping each other all night. Do we think Tavares is back? Like, what's the word there? Was that the illness again?
No, it sounded like he has a minor injury. They didn't reveal what it was, but nothing serious.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see. Not like anything was rough tonight, but be interesting to see in a different scenario that's not the Ducks.
Yeah, I have a feeling probably not going to see him.
Well, no skin off my back.
Why?
Where the frig is my outro? Well, we out of here. Remember to give us a like and subscribe and follow. The video will be up on Inside the Rink's YouTube channel. If it's not already there when you're listening to this, go over and check it out. Have a good night. It's never too late for the Leafs on Leafs Late Night.
Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Leafs Late Night, your night of post-game podcast. Available after every game on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Audible, and more.
My cat is sleeping, or I would have picked her up as well. Womp womp.
Yeah, mine was too. He's actually been quite a good boy, but I woke him up.